this is a major issue of discussion. So India feels that it is important rather than looking inwards. This has to be inclusive, and we believe in active engagement with the Indo-Pacific region and extensive outreach, especially to the SIDS and the littoral LDCs. Well, talking about promoting blue economy from Indian perspective, there are two broad elements. One is in the international and regional sphere, the other is domestically. In the international and regional sphere, it is, we have accepted it as a cross-cutting issue alongside the 6 priority areas of IORA. And also, as part of international cooperation, we look at technology transfer, capacity building, sharing of assets, and of course, as I mentioned, there is a particular focus on SIDS and the LDCs. Now, several maritime security initiatives have been taken by India, which of course, includes EZ surveillance, joint exercises with other countries, and HADR and SAR activities, search and rescue and disaster relief, and hydrographic assistance, white shipping agreements, developing MDA, maritime domain awareness, and also protecting the sea lines of communication. Domestically, one of the major components of blue economy is our project Sagarmala, which was envisaged, which talks about developing 200 major and minor ports with huge investments over the next 10 years. I think the investment which is conceptualized is something in the region of 1.2 billion. I'll get the figure in the next slide. But there are also small-scale artisanal fishers who require a special focus domestically. We are trying to promote the economic benefits and market access for them. And so focus is on building coastal economic zones, coastal smart cities, and multimodal internal inland transportation, and also development of our islands. So fisheries, as India is the second largest producer of fish, so we need to have a special focus on this sector. And as I mentioned about the Sagarmala project, which is an important component of our blue economy initiatives, it is about, 1.2 trillion, 1,200 billion is the investment that we are looking for in the next 10 years to develop 27 industrial clusters, which is part of this Sagarmala network and the Sagarmala project. So this is something which also is integrated in our overall vision of developing blue economy.
1 minute. 1 minute.
Okay. Blue economy, what is the strategic convergence that we have with ASEAN? Of course, with the development of the new concept of Indo-Pacific, which India strongly feels that ASEAN centrality is very important in this. So we are going beyond the geographic construct. We are looking for inclusive growth and development, embracing sustainable ocean-based growth. Of course, I had mentioned about maritime safety and security. This is also our common concern. And with this, our support and our for the rule-based maritime order, notably on clause and freedom of navigation and overflight, is important. So promoting maritime connectivity, renewable energy, marine resource conservation, coastal management are important. So this is in the context of our regional cooperative mechanism which we have to develop. So India, ASEAN have a very important role to play in this regard. So the vision for the future, Prime Minister Modi's vision of Sagar, which is security and growth for all in the region, and also Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas, which means together we shall prosper, is our vision for the future. And of course, I mentioned the key enablers are governance, technology, management, and entrepreneurship. We have to collectively work towards attaining these goals. And of course, I'm running short of time, so I just wanted to mention that there is also an important role that the industry can play, and there is a PPP model which public-private partnership can really work in this field, and we have to have vertical and horizontal integration for all blue economy related planning and policy making across government and business chambers. Finally, I would like to end with a very interesting quote from our Prime Minister wearing a blue jacket. He says that the blue chakra, or the wheel in India's national flag, represents the potential of blue revolution in the ocean economy. With these words, I'd like to thank you for your attention.
Thank you so much, Mr. Ambassador. I think it's been an excellent presentation, and he has highlighted that the new we recognize that Indo-Pacific is actually a geo-economic reality, if there was any doubt about that. And of course, we face common challenges, and there's a common vision. Now, I invite Professor Mohanty, who is the who is an expert on blue economy, and of course he is now here professor at the RIS, but has been involved in a lot of global trade issues, so he is the right person to speak about the trade and commercial perspective on blue economy. Professor Mohanty, you have 11 minutes. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. I would speak on blue economy and India-ASEAN partnership. Now, as you know that Ambassador Panda has very succinctly described about different features of blue economy and how it developed. But I would like to again say that the whole debate, global debate on blue economy is again a new development paradigm where in the post-war period, the focus was on the optimal use of labor and capital, and there was no stress about the availability of resources. It was constituted in different developmentals that the resources are abundant. So only scarce factors are labor and capital. And later on, particularly in Rio 2002, it was strongly felt that this is not the case. The resources are also equally scarce, and it is depleting day by day. So the whole issue of sustainability and the relevance of ocean economy, ocean resources for economic development came up. And therefore, blue economy is very important for developed and developing countries in the sense that it is neutral to economic development, level of economic development. It is equally important for small countries and also with the large countries. And the most important aspect that in the coming years, the driving force in any economy would be that segment of the economy known as blue economy. So you can see in many littoral countries, the driving force has been the blue economy, and that is the importance of the blue economy. Ambassador Panda has mentioned about many salient features of a blue economy: high growth, low investment, it is technologically driven, employment oriented approach, and importantly, it is again give enough of space to SMEs. In US, there are nearly 400 SMEs very strongly engaged with the blue economy sector, and one can see. In terms of traditional, non-traditional security issues, we are all aware, but non-traditional issues are more grave than that of traditional security issues. And in this context, blue economy has many things to contribute in this particular segment. And the important aspect is that individually you can try for promoting blue economy, but when you are in a group, we take a collective action that would be more beneficial than doing it individually. Coming to definition of blue economy, at the very outset I would like to say that it is again an evolving issue. It is not yet settled. There are many terminologies one can find, the entire taxonomy of blue economy. There are many: ocean economy, coastal economy, marine economy, and now blue economy. But they are very often used interchangeably, but the fact is that there are differences between them. And blue economy, of course, is more wider in its scope and content. It is not only taking into account all economic activities, but it also takes into account all the negative impact on the economy, and in the calculation of blue economy, those things are accounted, and therefore it is completely different from that of GDP estimation. I will come to this point again. People often feel that blue economy is again over-dominated by the fishery sector. The fact is that fisheries sector is very small as compared to the vastness of the blue economy in any littoral economy. So important aspect is about the contribution of the blue economy. In GDP calculation, you say there are a number of theories, goodness curve, and many other theories, saying that there is a definite pattern of growth in different countries at different levels of development. But if you look at blue economy, there is nothing like that. There is no stylish facts about blue economy. If the neighbor is very good in blue economy, it is not guaranteed that we are also equally that good in the blue economy sector. Therefore, it is important that we should know our blue economy more intensively going through it. And this is very important. Now, for that we need estimation of blue economy. I think in most of the economies we have got GDP estimation, but what is different from GDP estimation while talking about blue economy estimation? The blue economy estimation is that it is not only taking all economic activities the way it is taken care of by GDP calculation, but it takes account the location of the industry, where it is located. If the industry is located in the offshore, then it is part of blue economy, otherwise not. For example, coal and iron mines are in ocean in Australia, but not in India. So therefore, the sector coming from iron ore and coal in Australia would be part of the blue economy, not India. It is because it is not just for the location, but because of the technology and the cost involved in terms of its extraction. So that's why it is different. So as I said that there is no symmetry among countries. If you look at, there are couple of studies, because of the complex nature of the blue economy estimation, there are couple of studies across the globe in the literature. Hardly you have got 25, 30 countries where you have got the estimations, and for different points of time, you don't get time series information like GDP in many countries. If you look at developed countries and developing countries, there is no symmetry. If you take within developed countries, Iceland and Canada, there is a lot of difference, there is no symmetry. If you take large countries, Indonesia and China, Indonesia is more than 20%, China is around 10%. So it takes small countries, so you take any permutation combination, you find that there is no symmetry, and therefore there is no stylish facts about the blue economy. Now, most important aspect is about fisheries, and fisheries is very important for livelihood security and food security. Particularly important about the small scale industries, fisheries, which is providing nearly 60% of our protein intake in many developing countries. And for that, it is also highly employment intensive in nature. And therefore, in many regional economies, there are specific programs related to that. Another issue is about the threatened species related to IU fishing and overfishing. This is a major challenge for us. Another important issue domestically and in the international forum is about the fisheries subsidy. I think we can discuss at a later stage. Now, coming to the fisheries sector, what is the contribution of fisheries sector to the agriculture GDP? A very basic thing. You find that countries are different in terms of their experiences. Smaller countries like Brunei contributes nearly 34% of its fisheries sector to the agriculture GDP, where in case of India, it is around 5%. So across countries, you find that it is not linked to the size of the economy or any standard. Now, in terms of growth, you can see Indonesia has got in ASEAN region, Indonesia has got the highest growth between 2000 and 2015, and other ASEAN 6 countries have got very low growth. Even India is also moderate level of growth in terms of fisheries production. Now, if you look at the production, also you find that there is a large difference. Indonesia and India are two large economies, particularly in oil production. And in terms of capture production, we find that many ASEAN countries are very strongly involved in capture production, and very few of them are in the aquaculture, because aquaculture is now growing and started replacing the need for fishery production from catch. Few countries like Indonesia, Vietnam, Philippines are now strongly engaged in aquaculture, but not many countries in the region. Now, of course, in terms of volume production, there are different. What I did, for 2005, I throw an index number, I say that their starting point is same as 100. Now we can see that over the periods, the growth profile of different countries over the years. And I have also put the growth profile of the world economy, which is presented in the blue line. Now you can find that most of the ASEAN economies, their performances much better than that of the world average, only except two countries, Singapore and Thailand. Other than these two countries, in terms of capture fishing, other countries are much better than the world average. So now the question is that what is the ratio between the catch and the aquaculture? Because there is a lot of economic dynamics in terms of. In fisheries also you find that the aquaculture is growing vis-a-vis other. Now environmental issues, because of the paucity of time, I am to skip a few slides. There are various areas where blue economy can contribute to non-traditional security issues. India has done a lot of initiatives in this regard. Ambassador Panda has